Hi and welcome to Stories and Scribes. My name is Jade and I'm happy to be here and I'm happy to be talking to you. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Invite your friends and loved ones to subscribe. Don't forget the notification bell so that you are notified when new videos are uploaded, and let's have a wonderful time today. Today there's this new author that I read. I think it's the first book that I'm reading, and you know what I love about her is that she was a nominee for the Christie Awards, for 2019. Now, if you don't know, the Christie Awards in the Christian fiction world is like the Oscars, for the entertainment world. And these are like the awards where we get one of the best for 2019. And Jenna Ferguson, or Falling for Grace, is one of the books that was nominated for 2019. And the author graciously gave us the book to read, and I read it, I loved it, and I'm just sharing my review. So, like I've already said, the title of the book is Falling for Grace, and it is by Janet W. Ferguson. This book was a novella, which is it's not as long as a full-blown novel, but it's not as short as a short story. So it's in between the novel and the short story, and it was packed full, with topics that are hard topics. Disappointment, betrayal, and death, which is something that people normally shy away from or find it difficult to write about. So, before I go any further, the synopsis. Grace Logan had taken a lot of tumbles in life, but she works hard to bounce right back. Dreams shattered and hope for reconciliation gone. Grace needed a place where she can pick up herself now that her ex is marrying her former best friend. Her boss's beach house in Santa Rosa seems like a perfect getaway, but stumbling into the attractive but damaged handyman next door isn't part of the plan. After losing his infant son and his marriage, Seth Gibbs is left with smothering guilt and grief. Bad memories make it difficult to find a new normal, so he escapes to his family vacation home, and 3 years later, he's still in Santa Rosa with no plans to leave. That is, until Grace falls into his life. I always love a very, very good love story, but also a reconciliatory story, and dealing with issue of disappointment, of heartbreak, of loss, and how people handle that, and how people allow God to walk his love and his way into those kind of situations. So we have Grace here, who her ex is marrying her best friend. So how do you reconcile that? How do you deal with not just heartbreak, not just the fact that you have been cheated on and divorced, but now your ex is marrying your best friend? When I read it, I was like, how do you reconcile that? If it happens that your ex was unfaithful to you with someone you hardly even know, you're dealing with that, and you're dealing with that alone. But how do you deal with the fact that your ex has been unfaithful to you, and the person he has been unfaithful to you with is your best friend? Like someone who was supposed to have your back, someone who was supposed to be your friend, someone who was supposed to shield you, cover you, this kind of thing. You know how best friends are now, or how friends are supposed to be. And Grace had to deal with all of that, and she couldn't take it. So after trying to put her life together, it wasn't working. She needed a vacation. She just needed somewhere to just go, let down her hair, dislodge herself, and rebuild herself back together. So Grace now goes to Santa Rosa, which is her boss's beach house. And there she was, because she's a bit of a klutz, like people call them, people that are always clumsy, fall over things and things like that. She got to the house and different things started happening. At first, the water pipe burst, so the house was flooded. So she needed a handyman, and guess who comes along? This rather handsome, cute handyman who not only was he a handyman, like a handyman, but he loved to do handwork. And he also had a shed where he does these creative things with his hands. So it's not like he was a handyman per se, but because he knew how to handle things with his hands, he was always there to help her, and he was her neighbor. I know that's how they started a friendship. I know because he's a native of that place. He was there for 3 years. He was able to show her around the restaurants, where to go, where to shop, and all of that. And in the course of time, they began to become close. And you know how it is now. They become close. They have moments, then attraction, and then things like that. But Seth had a problem. He was dealing with grief and shame. And he had lost a child. And he had lost a child to CID, which is the infant sudden infant death. And he could not forgive himself because he felt he could prevent it. He felt he could have done something about it, and he felt responsible for that to happen to a child. And I know that, having had kids, I know that when they were born, and we were always told that do not allow your child to sleep, on their tummy, be careful, allow the child to sleep on the side, and all of those precautions to be able to prevent, that infant sudden death, or this sudden infant death, as it were. And he couldn't just reconcile because it was his, how it is, your love, your baby, especially when it's your first child, and all of that. And he couldn't reconcile. And that grief led to the breakup of his own marriage because both of them could not reconcile the grief themselves. So how do you handle grief? How do we, when you have that kind of tragedy, especially when it comes to the loss of a child, how do you handle it? I know that a lot of counseling has to be involved, a lot of praying, and a lot of time. I know that in relationships or in marriages, especially when somebody is at fault, that is heavy. It's in itself. And I pray for anyone in that situation that you will find forgiveness for yourself and trust God to heal your heart. Because I don't know what to say to someone who has suffered that kind of loss. It is the kind of loss I don't pray anyone suffers, because the loss of a child is deep, is really deep. So that loss took Seth away from his family. He couldn't bear to stay with his family. He couldn't bear to stay around people that care and love him. And the truth is, when you are going through grief, I know that you need time to understand the emotion and deal with the emotion. But I pray that you don't run far from people that love you. Love and support is so important in those critical times of grief. And I pray that whoever is going through grief right now, either the loss of a child, the loss of a sibling, the loss of a spouse, that God will heal you, the loss of a best friend, the loss of a parent, that God will heal you, that God will cause mercy, God will cause love and His grace to be with you, that you get the fortitude to bear that loss. And allow, as time heals you, allow your heart to be open to receive God's love and support from others. I know that's what He needed at the end of the day. Because imagine two broken people. You were broken from disappointment and you were broken from loss. How do you come together? How do you open your hearts to one another? How do you get over the trauma of going through loss? How do you get the trauma of deep betrayal? And I can say that it is only through God's love. I think that one of the things that you will always hear in stories and scribes is God's love. Because God's love is the basis and the cuts across any kind of emotion, loss, any kind of loss, grief, any kind of betrayal, because God's love is big, is wide. Remember in Ephesians, and you're saying that I pray that together with all the saints that we will understand the height of God's love, the depth of God's love, the width of God's love, and the length of God's love. We cannot totally exhaust God's love. And I pray today that you will receive the love of God. Now, in whatever grief situation you're in, you will receive the love of God. Now, whatever betrayal situation you will receive the love of God to forgive, receive the love of God to be healed. And whatever situation you find yourself, circumstance, situation, that you will receive the love of God to lift you, to wipe away your tears, to bring smiles to your face, to heal your heart. And I pray for you that you will find healing and you will find love, that true support will be around you, and God will help you in Jesus' name. And at the end of the day, Seth and Grace got together. Seth was reunited with his family, and he was able to receive the love. And you know how it is now when you lose a child and your brother or your sister are now married with kids, how you have to go through that emotion of, oh, I wish I had a son here, oh, I wish I haven't. But God is also a God of restoration. And when Sarah, Grace, and Seth got married, they also had a child. And you know, it's just like God wiping away your tears. And God is a God who wipes away your tears. And it was just such a wonderful book. I encourage you to read it, find it, Google Jenna Ferguson on Goodreads or Facebook or Instagram. Follow her and join her and find the books that she's writing in this time and in this season. Thank you so much for going through this journey with me. I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, to leave your comments, your feedback, and I would really, really love to hear from you. Thank you, and God bless you. Mwah.